Hi again, fellow unlicensed thinkers. Let's talk about these traps that we can put ourselves in as individuals and as a culture with what we're proud of and who we turn into heroes and what we idolize. And thousands of examples I could give, but I'm going to start with a couple of things and I think you'll kind of understand where I'm going. So let's say I've gone through some hardships, or I am going through some hardships, and I'm very proud of how I deal with those hardships. So let's say that has to do potentially with money. So let's say I have absolutely no money and I somehow managed to make it work. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I am super proud of myself because look what I did. I managed throughout all of this hardship to maintain and survive. Well, now the subconscious mind is here. What it hears is, oh, this guy likes feeling pride, and he gets pride from overcoming hardship, or for surviving through hardships, I should say. So what should we do for him? Well, then the subconscious mind does its thing and it tries to repeat that activity that gave you the reward that you wanted. And so what you're doing is you're getting something that you don't want because of this potential reward for it. And I've talked about this in other ways too. I know in other videos I like to delve into this because I find it a very interesting phenomenon. So what happens is then I end up through subconscious coercion, I guess you could say. I end up recreating these situations that gave me the pride. So if I have pride for being poor, then and surviving while poor, then my subconscious is going to influence me in order to be poor again so that I can yet again feel that same pride. Now, I'm going to talk about something a little different because that's one example, but let's go to a different example, and this will help expand it out to society a little bit more. And this is going to be very controversial, so if I piss you off, there's a video in my list about how to not be offended, so go check it out. I might even link it below. So in Western societies, and that's really all I'm going to talk about right now because that's the society that I live in, that's the society that I can speak to. In Western societies, it is about 80% that women initiate divorces. Okay, so I'm not going to bother with the 1,000 caveats that I could give. That's my one caveat that you get, is that you don't get any caveats. But that is a statistic, is that 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So another thing that is statistically proven is that having both parents in the house is the best thing that you can do for a child as far as their life success and how well they're going to do later in life. And so we would think the best thing to do would be obviously to keep these families together as much as possible. But we as a society have made it normal to say, well, we're going to call single mothers heroes. Okay, I'm not going to diminish any hard work that anyone does or anything like that. That's lovely. Again, not going to bother with caveats. So what we're doing is we're putting that into the subconscious of the individuals and the collective unconscious of the way to be a hero as a woman is to leave your husband and be a single mother, which also says that the way to be a hero is to diminish the possibility of success for your child or children through doing so. And so you can see by the 80% of divorces initiated by women that, well, that goes into a whole lot of other cultural stuff that I'm not going to delve into in this video, but you can see by that alone with what we're talking about here is that there's this subconscious thing that is always going to be running. And again, subconscious. So you're not going to say, well, I never thought that. But of course you didn't. It's subconscious. So in the society, we're We're basically saying, if you leave your husband and decrease the chance of your child having a successful life, you are a hero. That's what makes someone a hero, is reducing the success of the child and leaving the family. And I see this as a real problem, not just in this. Again, this is just another example. I want you to think of other examples in society where we are absolutely rewarding the wrong type of behavior, because that's what I'm really talking about here. These examples are just meant to get you thinking, to piss you off, whatever it might be. But what we could do instead, and I'm going to use this example again, come up with your other examples and try to think of what else we could do. So in those examples where we are rewarding the wrong thing, what could we reward that would be the right thing? And I don't mean, and shaming, again, that's another topic that I don't want to put in this video, but shaming can actually be a good thing. But let's leave that out of here, because I'm not talking about shaming people. What I'm talking about is rewarding people. So we're talking about the carrot, not the stick in this video. And so what can we do in order to give children a better chance of succeeding in life? Well, we can start calling women who remain in their relationships and don't fall for this trick. We can start calling them heroes, and we can start telling them how wonderful it is and what a good job they've done by staying in their family. But the funny thing is we don't think about that. We don't really go out of our way to say, you know what, it's great that you are maintaining a nuclear family. Because there is a part of us that thinks of that as the right way, the normal way, the default, I guess you could say. And so we don't really praise people for doing what we think is the default at a deep core level. And so if we start doing that, if we start praising people, and now I'm broadening this to whatever other examples, but if we start praising people for doing the thing that provides the most benefit for them, their offspring, the society, whatever it is, if we start praising people and calling them heroes for doing the right thing, and people start doing that within themselves, they start thinking of themselves as heroes for having done the right thing, then what we are effectively doing is we're changing the reward system of society. And we're saying, you know what, stay-at-home moms and those who homeschool, you are the heroes. You are fantastic. You are doing what it takes to make sure that your children are going to be as successful as possible based on the vested interest that you have in them, as opposed to sending them off to daycare. You are doing a fantastic thing. We applaud you for sticking with something that we know can potentially be difficult. So good on you. And that's the type of thing that we can start doing. Instead of praising the thing that we know is going to lead to the worst possible outcome. And I always have to clarify this because I think it's really important, and I hate caveats, but I think this is important to say, is I'm not talking about making any laws. I'm not talking about making laws that say, if you get married and have kids, you have to stay together. No, I'm talking about making it a cultural thing. And this, I will touch on the shaming, but this is actually where shaming comes in. A lot of times shaming is useful because it helps prevent someone or a society from doing things that are outside of their best interest. And so sometimes it can be a good thing, but again, I will make another video on that later. For now, just think of the ways that you can praise someone who is doing something normal, something that they should be praised for, something that is going to provide that ultimate outcome. Let me know down in the comments what types of things you think would fit into that category.